A poor farmer lost his crops, his money, and almost everything he had. Yet the strangest thing was, he never complained to anyone. What he did instead shocked the entire village and taught them a life-changing lesson.
Rafiq, a poor farmer, lived in a small village surrounded by endless fields that rarely yielded enough crops. Every day, before sunrise, he stepped into the dry, cracked earth with nothing but a worn-out plow and his unwavering spirit. Life had been unkind. Storms had destroyed his crops, debts piled up, and neighbors often whispered about how little he had. Yet, not once did Rafiq complain. He believed that sorrow and hardship were part of life, and instead of cursing fate, he focused on what he could do with his hands. His wife, Amina, watched him silently, her heart heavy for the struggles he endured alone. Yet she admired his patience and resilience. She knew that Rafiq's strength was not just in his labor, but in his unwavering optimism. The village, however, didn't always see it that way. People would say, "Why does he suffer quietly? Is he foolish to accept such life?" But Rafiq never answered. He simply smiled and returned to his work. Every evening, after a long day under the scorching sun, he would sit by the old mango tree at the edge of the farm, wiping sweat from his brow and watching the horizon. Despite the emptiness in his stomach and the worries pressing on his shoulders, he felt a strange peace. In those quiet moments, he found joy in simplicity, a fresh breeze, the chirping of birds, the laughter of children playing nearby. Life had taught him a secret that many had yet to learn. Happiness was not in wealth, but in acceptance and gratitude for what little one had. Little did he know, his patience and silent endurance were slowly becoming a lesson for the entire village, even for those who envied him. Something was about to happen that would make everyone look at him in awe, not pity.
One summer, a massive storm swept through the village, tearing apart homes and flooding the fields. Rafiq's farm, already fragile, was almost completely destroyed. His heart sank as he watched his crops, the result of months of tireless work, washed away in a single night. Amina held his hand tightly, tears in her eyes, whispering that maybe it was time to leave the village and start anew. But Rafiq only shook his head gently, saying, "Life tests us, not to break us, but to teach us patience." Next morning, the villagers gathered to assess the damage. Some shook their heads at Rafiq, expecting him to cry or complain like the rest. But he walked through the muddy fields with quiet determination, planting new seeds in the soaked soil. The villagers whispered, some mocking, some curious, wondering why he remained calm despite such hardship. Rafiq smiled faintly, remembering the small joys he had found even in difficult times, the laughter of his children, the taste of a simple meal, and the love of his wife, Amina, who never left his side. As the days passed, Rafiq worked tirelessly, repairing fences, clearing debris, and tending to what little crops could survive. Slowly, his determination inspired others. Some villagers came forward, offering help, and together they rebuilt not just his farm, but a sense of unity in the community. Rafiq's unwavering patience and humility had shown them that strength was not loud or boastful. It was quiet, resilient, and persistent. By the time the rain stopped and the sun returned, Rafiq's farm had begun to flourish again, more resilient than before. The villagers, who once doubted him, now looked at him with newfound respect. And Rafiq, though tired and weathered, smiled at the lesson life had just offered, not in gold or wealth, but in courage, humility, and the quiet strength of never giving up.
Months passed, and Rafiq's farm, once devastated by storms, had transformed into a thriving patch of green. every sprout, every tiny bloom, was a testament to his resilience and unwavering patience. Villagers who once doubted him began to visit, not to mock, but to learn. They asked him how he stayed so calm, how he found hope in the darkest moments, and how he never complained even when life seemed unbearably harsh. Rafiq would smile quietly and answer, "Life is never perfect. We cannot control storms, but we can control our hearts." His children grew up watching their father work with humility, learning the value of perseverance, gratitude, and integrity. They understood that true strength was not measured by wealth or power, but by character, by the ability to endure hardships without bitterness. Amina, standing beside him, felt proud, knowing that together they had created not just a farm, but a legacy of courage and quiet dignity. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across the fields, Rafiq sat beneath the old mango tree. He looked around at the flourishing crops, the smiling faces of neighbors, and his family beside him. The village had changed, and he had changed it, not with words or complaints, but with steadfast patience, unwavering faith, and a heart full of humility. The lesson was clear. Life will always test you. Storms will come, and hardships may break the weak, but those who endure with patience, gratitude, and courage can transform misfortune into triumph. Rafiq, the poor farmer who never complained, had become a living testament to the power of resilience. And in that quiet strength, he taught the world that true wealth is not measured by possessions, but by the dignity and grace with which we live, even when life gives us nothing.